So in this video, you're going to learn a very valuable lesson, and that is how to replace an iPhone in Mexico. And it's a little more complicated than I would have ever imagined. So first off, we are talking about an iPhone where the account is in the United States. You can buy an iPhone and set it up on AT&T Mexico or Telcel or something. iPhones are more expensive in Mexico. I'll get to the price, I'll talk about those. But if your account is in the United States, then for an iPhone or a Samsung, this is what AT&T told me, the phone needs to be activated inside the United States. That's kind of the quick version, but let's start with where the story starts. So today is Wednesday, and on Sunday, Kat and I and her sister and brother-in-law went to the Serpentario in La Paz, which I've got a video about it up here. Really cool place. Just when you walk inside, it's like a little zoo, like miniature zoo, and they have turtles right there. They've got a huge turtle pond with all these red-eared sliders, and Kat has a tendency of putting her iPhone in her pocket and in her shirt pocket. And sure enough, I had bought her for 5 pesos. I'd bought her a little bit of turtle food. So she laid in to feed the turtles, and out flies the phone, and it slides right to the bottom of the turtle pond. And they tried to use a skimmer to find it, but it was a really deep pond, as you can see here, and it was really mucky. So, and the phone lasts about 30 minutes underwater. So the phone is a goner. Maybe there's some turtles who are now surfing the net or making some international phone calls on her phone, but we no longer have the phone. So the first thing we did was we thought, okay, we'll just go to Sam's Club. There's iPhones down here. They're a little expensive. And we went by, and they didn't have the latest. They had the 13, not the 14. And the price for a 13 was like $1,100. The equivalent phone in the United States is $700. So one of the things about Mexico is that oftentimes electronics are much more expensive down here. So there's duties, things that come from China seem to be expensive in Mexico. So I said, before we buy this thing, let's make sure this is gonna work. Let me call AT&T, see if, they can maybe overnight FedEx us a phone from the United States, because we can't be the first people to lose their phone while vacationing overseas. So this has gotta be something just simple. So I called 611 on my phone and talked to their customer support folks, and they were clearly not in the United States. They were in another foreign country. I explained the situation, lost my phone in Mexico. Then the first person started taking me through the process of getting, ordering a new phone and whatnot, and got it all set. And I said, okay, well, you're sure that this can ship to Mexico? Because things can get complicated with the border. And she's like, oh, Mexico, the country. She thought I was talking about New Mexico. She thought she could get it shipped. She's like, no, it's not possible to ship a phone overseas. And I was like, no, this gotta be possible. So I called back again, and I got a different person who pretty much immediately told me, no, not possible. Transfer me to sales. You know how that works when something isn't going well with a big corporation. You're in a phone tree and you're bouncing all over the place, and they're hanging up on you and whatnot. So that was what I was experiencing. But then I found a phone number online, and it's for AT&T International Support. And I'll be sure to put the number down below. I got some guy had a really heavy Southern accent. I said he was in Orlando, and he was part of this small group of folks that support AT&T customers who are international, who are overseas. So I was like, okay, great. Can you get me a new phone shipped to Mexico? And he's like, well, reality is no, this is not possible. And I was like, well, there's got to be a way. We'll buy one down here. No. Pretty much comes down to the phones that are sold in Mexico for activation on AT&T Mexico are different than the phones that are sold in the United States to be activated on AT&T US, and these are two different companies. And he said, well, we cannot ship one out to you, and you can't buy a Mexican phone and put it on your American plan. And so he said, well, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just get a burn phone, a really cheap phone. Cheap phones can be cheap in Mexico. So that was, something we were considering. And then I think, what did he say next? He said there was something that they had heard about in their office, that in Canada and in Mexico at Apple stores, often they will have some of the models that work in the US, and they can manually override the system. So the problem is with I mentioned Samsung and Apple. They said these are the two companies that have this problem. If you have a US-based phone on a US-based account and you attempt to activate it outside the United States, they believe it's fraud and they will not allow the activation. So it has to be done inside the border of the United States, except if you're at an Apple store. Because if you're in an Apple store, they can override this for you because you can prove who you are and you're there in person, you got your passport and whatnot. So I was like, okay, cool, let's find an Apple store. Maybe there's one in Cabo. There's Mac stores in La Paz, and there's Mac stores in Cabo, but Mac stores are not official Apple stores. And when I called the Mac store, they said, no, we can't do it. There's only one city that has an Apple store, and that is in Mexico City. And now what's sad is Mexico City is where I was last week, but Kat lost her phone in La Paz. And I also, kind of at the same time, we were kind of thinking, okay, well, do we do the burn phone? What do we do? My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they were looking for a trip, a car to go from La Paz to Cabo because their flight was on Wednesday, which is today. And I said, well, I could drive you, and then maybe I could get a flight and fly to either Mexico City or Tijuana and manage to get this phone thing handled. And that brings us to where we are right now. I am in the San Jose del Cabo airport in the domestic departure area because I will be heading to Tijuana in a couple of hours. I dropped off my brother-in-law and sister-in-law this morning. Their flight was a couple hours before mine. And I went to Teacher's Coffee for lunch, which I always love. There's a link to a video up there if you're in San Jose del Cabo and eat breakfast. Wonderful place. I'm now here, and so you're kind of caught up to where I am, and we're gonna follow in the video together as I go through this process. Now, one other thing which made this trip maybe more worth it to do is that our dog Nugget, she is on a lot of medication. She has an autoimmune disease, and she probably over a day takes 20 different pills. So she's, kind of like, something to suppress something and then something to bring it back. And you know how it is when you get older. She's only 4, but she has a lot of pills that she takes. And one of them, we ordered it, it was shipped, and we were using it, and we found out that even though it was supposed to be 100 units, it was only 10. And we didn't realize that until Monday. And we're like, this just, the numbers aren't working out here. Another tricky thing is it's really hard to get medication shipped across a border. And this is not a medication that we could get in Mexico. And this is called Adequan. It's an injectable thing because she has really awful arthritis, and this is supposed to help that and keep her comfortable. We were able to call the company, have them ship the Adequan, and I think the Adequan too, because might as well, I'm going to the United States, let's pick up everything we need. They were able to ship that, FedEx it overnight to a FedEx office in Otay Mesa, which is kind of San Diego, right on the other side of the border. So from here, I will be heading to FedEx, and I'll be heading to Apple. Might be heading to like Home Depot to pick up some things that you can't find in Mexico or that are just harder to find in Mexico. I invite you to come along for this trip. You've gone this far in the story. Might as well see how this ends together. If you're wondering why I'm in the San Jose del Cabo airport versus the La Paz airport, because there are flights directly from La Paz to Tijuana and back. However, they were about 70% more expensive. So that's definitely something. Los Cabos does have lower airfares typically than the airport in La Paz. So I'm here at CBX, which is a great way to cross the border. You fly into Tijuana, you cross the bridge, you have to pay to cross the bridge, and it looks like you might pay more if you buy the ticket here versus online. I'll have another video about CBX up here soon. I had a shitty time at the Mex car rental, and there will definitely be a video coming about my experience with them. But I'm gonna give the thumbs up to Venezia over at Hertz. She was just so kind, so sweet, and I'm now in a Hertz car because the woman at Mex car rental canceled my reservation because I was filming the experience because it wasn't a pretty one. Okay, so I'm in San Diego now, and I'm going to the Otay Mesa, or I don't know what this place is, big mall thing, finally at the Apple store. Okay, so with the Apple store, I just realized this when I was walking up here. Often, you need to have an appointment to buy an iPhone. And I walked in and it was kind of busy, and it closes in about an hour. The good news is, they had an appointment. I just have to wait 15 minutes here, and then I should be able to get an iPhone. And it looks like there's an AT&T store possibly right across the street. So if I need some help getting our AT&T, US AT&T account connected to this, hopefully they're still open. So I haven't quite figured out the system here at Apple, because yeah, I'm checked in. It's been about 10 minutes. Crossing my fingers, because if this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to get over to that AT&T store. But I'm not sure what everyone's doing. Maybe it's just me because of the day that I've been having, especially at the Mex car rental. Did I talk about that yet? So on top of all that, I just realized that I don't have my wallet on me. I'm hoping it's in the car. Yeah, cross your fingers for the wallet. There it is. Oh my God, it's happening. Activate now. Okay, nothing can be easy. I've got 12 minutes to get back to the car because my wallet's in there, because I'm in California. I have to pay sales tax. And the only way to pay sales tax is with that credit card that better be in my car still. She said she'd promise to stay there and wait for me. So I'm gonna start running. Look at that, right there. Credit card, wallet on the seat, and it's still here. Things are starting to look up. Okay, it's 7:55. I got 5 minutes to go. I'm back at the iPhone store with my credit card. Okay, attempt number 1 to run my credit card to pay the $53 in tax failed. Not sure why my credit card isn't working, but we're gonna see. It's just it might be something on their end. So let's keep those fingers crossed. There it is. 1 minute to spare before the Apple store closed. We have the iPhone 13 mini. Now I gotta go. I think I need to go to Wetzel's Pretzels. I've never had a pretzel from there, but I'm hungry, and that might be next, maybe. Okay, it's almost 9 o'clock and I've arrived at my Airbnb here. It looks like a really cool place, but it's dark, so I can't really see it. I am going to be doing a little video editing of that Mex video. And then tomorrow I'll be doing part 2 of my journey. As long as I'm up in the United States, I'm picking up some medicine for Nugget, our dog. Poor girl takes so much medicine. So some of it though, we couldn't get shipped down to Mexico. So I'll be picking that up tomorrow morning at a FedEx office, and then hopping on a plane back to San Jose del Cabo, and then driving back to La Paz. Okay, so it's Thursday morning. Kat is out playing pickleball in La Paz while I am here in San Diego. But last night at like 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up panicked because I was thinking about the FedEx office that we had the medications for Nugget shipped to. And I realized that it's not an official FedEx office, but a FedEx authorized reseller, which might be a little different. So I'm worried that they don't accept packages for people who don't have mailboxes there. Like maybe it's a mailbox, it's etc. or something like that. So I I did get back to sleep, but I've been a little nervous this morning waiting. It opens in 7 minutes, so I'm going to give them a call to see if they have the package just in case they sent it to a shipping center or something somewhere else instead of driving there to find that out. I want to find that out and then find out if the package is somewhere else here in San Diego. You know the drill. Hi there. I am wondering if you can help me out. I had a package sent there via FedEx, and I'm wondering, I'm hoping that you guys just collected it and are waiting for me to come by, but I wanted to make sure of that. West. It should have come yesterday. What do you think for? I don't, but I'm going to check with my wife and see if she has one, and I'll give you guys a call back, okay? Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Okay, they don't seem to have it. So now I need a tracking number, but to do that, I need to call Kat, and I know that Kat is playing pickleball and doesn't have a cell phone. So let's see what I can do. Okay, so now I'm going to try calling Vet Source, which are the people who are shipping. Hi, Alexa. My wife called in, I guess, a prescription to be shipped to a FedEx office, and I'm wondering if you could, by any chance, find like the shipment number or what are the tracking number so we can track it down. No, and I can't get in touch with my wife, so I'm the one who's supposed to be picking it up. So try Cat West, KatWest @gmail.com. Okay, looks like it was supposed to ship to 2220 Otay Lakes Road, Suite 502 at Dock. Okay, well, give me that tracking number because they didn't see it under our name. But yeah, let's start with tracking number. The tracking number you entered is incorrect. So was it a FedEx number or was it was that UPS? Okay, that's okay. Then correct. I should be able to get this to them and work this out. Okay, now back to FedEx. Hi there. I had a package delivered to you all. I called this morning and they weren't able to track it down, but I have a tracking number from, it looks like they sent it UPS. 750 Otay. So if I had something that was with your address on it, Otay Lakes Road, okay. Right. So it says that it was received by postal annex, left at dock. It says delivered to Chula Vista, California, and there's a tracking. Well, let me see here. If it just says Chula Vista postal annex, view details. Let me see here. So it's going to be probably under Cat, KAT West. Yeah, possibly Brighton West. Yes. Oh, it's there. Okay, cool. So I just have to pay $5 to receive it. Okay, so they have it, and it's good. And I just have to pay $5 to pick it up. Okay, I'm at the postal annex now, so this should be just a quick trip. Okay, here it is. I definitely lucked out. Glad I called this morning. They were going to send it back with the UPS driver today. Lots of confusion on this trip, but like I said, I lucked out. It was here. They were holding it. They weren't quite sure who it was for, but I have it now. It cost me $5. So I'm going to get this stuff into my luggage and hope that I don't have any problems at the airport having a bunch of medicine for a dog. So my next task is to go to Lowe's and pick up some things that are hard to find in Mexico, like combination padlocks. Might as well get some things while I'm over here. Also heading over to Target. I'm hoping that they have white tea. That's something you just cannot find in Mexico. It's something I drink on a daily basis. And then I've got to hit the road, get to the gas station, and make it back to Mexico. So we're now 2 hours and 15 minutes before my flight leaves. A few things left to do. I think I'm not going to be able to get breakfast until the airport. Wetzel's Pretzels last night closed, by the way, so not much of a dinner last night. I am gonna get some food today. So it looks like I am not going to be successful with the white tea. Usually the Celestial is the brand that I get, but I'm gonna be heading back to Mexico without any white tea. So I'm normally the type of person who does get to the airport without a lot of time to waste. But today I've got to go across that CBX bridge and go through all of that. So it takes a little extra time. Plus my receipt for CBX says that it expired yesterday, even though I purchased it yesterday. So you know the drill. And when you're going through the gates at CBX, you need to show both your boarding pass and also this little scan code. So you have to scan both of those to prove that you do have a plane ticket on the other side. And also to come back this way and to prove that I had just gotten off a plane. Okay, the ticket worked even though it was valid through yesterday. I've now moved through the gates, heading towards Mexico. So check-in went pretty good at the rental car place. Venezia was there again this morning, asked about my iPhone situation. So sure, she remembered me. Got across the CBX and I'm now walking to the Tijuana airport. I have about an hour and 27 minutes to go, so I feel like I'm ahead of schedule now as long as things go smoothly at immigration. So that'll be my next stop, and they probably won't let me film there. Okay, 6 minutes to clear customs and immigration short line today, and I went through the residence line. I did learn though that there was a spot where you can pay if you need a visa longer than 7 days and you're a tourist. So learned something new today. So I'm gonna totally have time to stop and get something to eat before my flight. Hopefully there's some good food at the Tijuana airport. The Cabo airport, at least in the international terminal, not good food, just a warning there. San Jose, gate 13, gate change. Okay, now it looks like we've done customs and whatnot. We're gonna go through airport security next. So things are definitely feeling more chill now that I'm back in Mexico. One thing I noticed was just the way people drive in the United States. There's just lots of assholes out there on the street and people trying to cut other people off and kind of, if someone makes a mistake, they're kind of like slam on the brakes and slam on the gas and honk their horn and whatnot. So that is something that I just don't see down here in Mexico. People just behave. There's not this like, I need to prove that you did something wrong. There's more of a, oops, you did something wrong. Let me just let you go. No problem, no stress. I haven't really heard about road rage in Mexico. I think that might just be a thing up in the United States. But one thing I do miss is NPR. I did get to listen to NPR while I was driving around, so that was kind of nice. I see a Starbucks. I see a Johnny Rockets down there. So I feel like I've gotten right back into the United States here in Mexico. Oh, there's a flight to La Paz. Huh, I wonder what that would have cost. So I just found a couple of subscribers here. These guys are planning to move to La Paz. They have iPhones, so they're gonna wanna watch this video to learn about not losing your iPhone in Mexico. You guys are watching it now. These guys, they're getting a little preview. What are your names?
Sandy.
Brad.
Sandy and Brad. So hopefully we'll see them down in La Paz soon. Eek, last person getting on the plane. They said they closed the flight, but they almost did. They let me on.
Pay attention for a few minutes to this important demonstration, even if you travel frequently.
Nos vemos pronto a bordo nuevamente. Viva Aerobús. Lo que necesitas para volar.
Okay, I'm back in Cabo. One thing I just love is the way Mexicans get off of airplanes. It's so much more controlled than the way it's done in the US. So now I just gotta I just called for my car or for my shuttle to go to my car. And it is now 3:20. and it's about 2.5 hours. So it's going to be getting dark when I get to La Paz, but not so dark that I won't be able to, perhaps this is it, to drive at night, because you know you're not supposed to drive at night in Mexico. Here is my park and fly. Hola. Ah. Okay, back in my Subaru. Parking was fine. It costs like $12, I guess, US for 2 days of parking, but they forgot to wash the car. That was another $15. I figured it was worth it because my normal car wash guy has turned into like a oil change guy now. So I was really looking forward to a clean car, but if that's the worst thing that happens today, that is no problem. So heading now towards La Paz, and it is now 3:35, so let's get on the road. So one thing that's kind of funny about Cabo in general, the parking, the prices are in dollars, and they quoted the price in dollars, and then I said, well, what about pesos? They actually had to calculate it out, and then when I paid in pesos, they had to go get a Ziploc bag with pesos in it. So it's interesting, people in different parts of Mexico, I guess the locals have just started catering to the tourists, even in a place where you park your car. But most of Mexico, it is land of the peso. And driving in Mexico is also different in terms of just the way people behave more as an organism, I guess. So if there's something in the road ahead, or maybe there's animals along the side of the road, people will flash their lights at the other person. I think that might happen in the United States, more so if there's a cop ahead. But so there was a tire back there in the road, and a car had flashed its lights, so I kind of slowed down and knew something was, I had to watch for something. Also, there was a car that I wanted to pass, and it kind of straddled the line on the right-hand side. Although there are passing zones in Mexico, kind of everyone passes wherever they feel it's safe. Also, a little bit later, I didn't actually want to take my hands off the steering wheel to push record for this, but there was a semi coming up the hill very slowly, and so it was straddling the shoulder on one side of the road. So being the good Mexican driver that I am, I straddled the shoulder on my side of the road so that a semi behind them could pass, and they didn't have to wait for me to go by. So it's just a different situation in just how people behave, not as a competition, but as a cooperation in Mexico. Okay, so I'm making it in. I'm inside La Paz right now, working my way towards El Centenario, where I live. So the big reveal is going to be how happy Kat is when she sees this iPhone, and how happy Nugget is when she sees me / the medicine that she needs. But perfect timing here. The sun is just setting, and you don't want to drive at night in Mexico. The way that I break that rule is if you're in a city and it's an area that you've driven before. And, I always like to make sure that you understand it's not because of a danger from human beings who might do something bad to you. The danger here is with speed bumps and potholes and wildlife that decides that the street is warm and that's where they want to hang out. So cars with no taillights, that's one too possibly. But yeah, so we've got perfect timing here. What I say is if you get into Cabo too late, spend the night there. Don't try to make the drive, but we're doing it just in time. Okay, just pulled in. Sun's still setting. You can kind of see it up there. Step one. Where's my dog? I thought for sure my dog would greet me. There she is. Nuggies. Where's my wife? Hopefully she's making me dinner.
Hi, sweetie.
Hello. It's so dark. People can't see how appreciative you are.
Yay, thank you.
So let's do a quick accounting. The price for the plane ticket was about $150 out of Cabo, the round trip. Then I had to pay for parking in Cabo, so that was about $12. CBX was $50 to cross both ways. Car rental was about $85. I'm still mad about that. Mad at Mex about that. The tolls, did I mention the tolls? $10 in tolls, gas for the rental car. Airbnb was about $80 or so in San Diego. And I think that's about it. But let's talk about the cost of having a happy wife, or the benefits of having a happy wife. No, I'm not gonna go there. Let's talk about the cost of iPhones in Mexico. iPhones are very expensive in Mexico. A lot of electronics are awfully expensive. So an iPhone 13 is $1,100 in Mexico for the 13 with 128 gigabytes of data or something like that. That same phone in the United States is $700. There may be some taxes or something added. So really we're looking at $400 in savings in the iPhone, but about $400 in cost in going to the US. But once again, we had to go to the US because the phone number and the phone is set up in the US. And the other thing to note is that Kat really wanted an iPhone 13 mini, and the minis weren't available down here in Mexico anyway, or at the shops that we checked. Okay, so I'm getting really nervous because I just turned on the phone and started setting it up, and I was gonna transfer the data from Kat's computer over to this. And I'm down in Mexico and it says activating eSIM and connecting iPhone to cellular network. I thought that's what happened at the Apple store. And that sounds like the specific thing that cannot happen in Mexico that has to happen in the United States. So super nervous right now that I took a trip all the way to the United States and didn't get done what I needed to get done. Okay, so the computer got 18 minutes to download the old iPhone. So we have a copy of the old iPhone, so that's good. And it's sending it over here. And I can see that there are some bars up here, which might mean that the cellular is activated, but now we're kind of in a wait and see game for 18 minutes to see if it actually connected to the cellular network down here. And if I didn't do that up in the United States, I'm gonna kick myself so hard if that is going to be a problem. Kat did make spaghetti, veggie meatballs, and homemade bread for dinner as a thank you. And we're just having our nice dinner here, a little Italian music playing in the background, and waiting for the computer to complete the process. We'll look after dinner.
So I guess the turtle and the phone jokes will never get old because my sister keeps sending me memes, but it's all good. I'm super excited that my husband is so sweet and just so amazing that he actually flew to San Diego to get me a new phone. And now, fingers crossed, it actually works.
So I wish I could give you a definitive end to this video, but it's been a couple of hours now. I'm on the phone with AT&T. We're getting a little closer. Like sometimes the phone rings, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it can send text messages, sometimes it doesn't. It seems like it likes to go directly into voicemail, so I think the voicemails are going to the bottom of the pond. And so, yeah, it's really even less pretty to lose an iPhone in Mexico than I originally thought. Also, make sure you back up your iPhone to your computer instead of doing back up the important stuff to the cloud, to the iCloud. Kat filled up her iCloud, so all of her important stuff isn't necessarily there. It's better. It's working. We don't have really good cell phone service at our house, so it's kind of hard to test, but definitely the voicemails are not showing up yet. Like I said, I think the turtles are catching the voicemail messages, but thank you for sticking around to this point in the video. I wish there was an amazing hurrah at the end where I could say the phone is working perfectly and all the apps came back and all the pictures came back and everything came back, but voicemails didn't come back, text messages didn't come back, pictures came back. So that was good. But for you who did stick around, there's a couple more videos here that feature both Kat and I. So check those out next. Hasta luego. Leave me a comment down below.